So now that you've completed your outline, your first outline, I want to talk a little bit about some common mistakes that were made and also how you can continue on with your outlines. Sorry, with your final essays. First of all, I know that we did kind of a three main point outline, but I want to caution you from thinking that means we're going to do a standard 5-paragraph essay. That's not the case. We can't do the 5-paragraph essay because the essay's too long. You have to expand on each of those main points. So you may have 2, 3, or more paragraphs for each main point as you expand them. You'll have the introduction, and you'll have your main points, which I just said you can expand on. You'll also establish common ground with your skeptic, because remember, your skeptic is your main audience. And that common ground was discussed in the Toulmin method when you read about that in your textbook. Then you're also going to want to address your skeptic's concerns. You need to show them why you're right, why your stance is right or correct based on the evidence that you've gathered, all the while remembering that they are your main audience. Those skeptics are your main audience, and so you have to come back to that common ground, whatever it is that you both agree on. So maybe we can't all agree that all teachers should carry guns to school, but we can all agree that students should feel safe in school. So moving on, make sure this was a common mistake that happened. Make sure everything's in third person point of view. You want to avoid the 10 deadly words of academic writing. When you're writing academic papers, there is no room for these words. I, me, my, mine, our, ours, we, us, you, yours, and yours. Or even the other your. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Any of those things do not have any place in your essay, so please avoid them at all costs. So if I've told you to rewrite your outline in third person, that means to get rid of all of those words. Also, you want to avoid hostile language. You don't want to turn off your audience. Remember, your target audience is your skeptics. They're the people who disagree with you. So if you judge them, make them seem stupid or less than you, then you're going to lose them right off the bat. So definitely want to avoid hostile language. You want to keep this on a very academic, evidence-based realm. And as you see here, your paper should convince those who disagree with you. So remember, people are going to be reading your paper and they're going to have these kinds of expressions on their face. So keep that in mind, that you've got to address whatever it is, whatever they are thinking, you've got to address it. You don't necessarily have to state it, but you can address it. So going back to the teacher and gun situation, now just don't get me wrong, I don't want to carry a gun to school, but just for lack of a better example at the moment. So if teachers, you're saying that all teachers should carry guns to school. Well, your skeptics are going to say, well, not all teachers even know how to use a gun, right? So what you would do is you wouldn't say, well, while some people believe that not all teachers know how to use a gun, they could be trained. Well, instead of saying, while some people believe, because that's apologetic and it kind of weakens your stance, you want to just address that concern by saying, teachers should carry guns, all teachers who carry guns will be trained in their proper use and storage, something like that. And don't forget about the common ground that you learned in the Toulmin method. Moving on to the presentation assignment, this is very important. It's coming up. It's going to be due at the end of next week, I believe. And you want to make sure that you include all of those things in your presentation assignment, and everything that I've talked about is related to that. So let me just kind of show you. Here is the presentation assignment. So normally if you were in a face-to-face class, you would create this presentation and you would present it to your classmates in class. But since this is an online class, you're going to submit the presentation in this discussion posting. So I have an example posted, but also you can look at the rubric. And I think the rubric is the most important part. That's going to show you exactly what you need to have in the presentation. So one slide should contain your name and the presentation title and the date. The controversy or issue is discussed. Okay, so that's your although because. A working thesis statement or clear stance should be presented. Skeptics and their arguments are identified. You want to make sure that you include that. That's a very important part. Look, it's worth 20 points. And then at least 4 main topics are presented in the form of main points and refutations. You've already done that in your outline, so all you have to do is add that to your presentation. You can also add some images. That would be helpful. And then your need for further research. Talk about what things you still haven't researched that you want to, that's related to your topic. Also, you're going to want to have 4 APA citations included within the text and a reference page. And the presentation should demonstrate your clear understanding of the research and how it relates to the thesis. So there's no copying and pasting here. This is all you. This is all things that you've learned and you're presenting to the class as you understand it. And then, of course, you're going to want to respond to 2 other presentations using specific and helpful feedback. That means more than just, hey, good job. You want to really discuss the strengths and weaknesses of your classmates' presentation and also discuss any concerns you might have that they might not have covered. If you are one of their skeptics, it would be really good for you to let them know that, hey, I have this argument and I think that should be addressed in your paper. Okay. And then make sure that your outline revisions are submitted by Sunday night. Otherwise, your current grade will stand. Any questions? As always, please message me through Canvas. I am always here to answer your questions. Thank you very much.